I put a poll on my Instagram the other day.
Good for you. Make that money.
No. And I asked people what types of podcasts they want to hear. And I asked, do you want to hear stuff about like mindset and like deep type shit that like makes you really think, or about like fad diets and like debunking them, or supplement science? And 80% of people said that they want to hear about mindset stuff and like how to
80%.
80%.
How big was the?
I mean, I'm no celebrity, so was it
like 80% is like what? 4 people? 3 people and their kid.
But still, I thought that was very telling. I wouldn't have like probably guessed that. The other 20% wanted to hear interviews with people who have been successful at fitness and nutrition stuff in the past. So I thought that was interesting too.
They can talk to other people they're actually going to class with.
Yeah. There's not that much time to talk. I yell at them. Like, stop talking. Start working.
Well done. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, but just for those people who are wanting to talk to other people, I mean, food for thought here, no pun intended. Great concept to have. You know, you never want to be the smartest motherfucker in the room. Mm-hmm. It's what every entrepreneurial podcast has ever said. You know, you always want to, make sure you're asking more questions. Thumb before index when something goes wrong, all that other shit, right? But a lot of the times, those that are successful, I would bet anything that the number one thing they'll say is there is no quick fix, there is no fancy trick, there's nothing special except for consistency. Yeah, you got to decide to do it, of course, because every long journey has that first step, but the successful are the most consistent. I'd bet anything. If you were to go around and ask everyone, that they would say, that person's successful, that person, okay, cool. Then ask every single one of those people, can you afford not to be consistent? And they'll, hell no, you have got to be, which would probably go into what, you said that everyone wanted to hear about what gets in the way.
Yeah, right? I mean,
I'd bet
one of the conversations that we have, like,
consistency issue with those that are not able to stay focused.
True. But one thing people ask about all the time is like, I just can't stop doing this. Like, I can't stop eating it late at night, or I can't stop. I know I need to stop this particular habit, whatever it is, or I know I need to start this particular habit, but I can't get myself to do it. And so I was thinking about people that we've worked with in the past who have been successful at making that happen. And I was thinking about current people that I've been talking to recently about kind of like what they feel stuck in. And it's interesting because it all comes back to the same thing, which it always does. But I think if you break down the examples, it's easier to kind of place yourself in the mix and kind of see where you're at and where you personally are getting stuck mindset wise. So we've got this one guy who we've been training for 4 years now, 3 years now. It's been a long time. And he's struggled with his weight his whole life. He's told me that lots of times, like even when I was a kid, like I've had trouble with this for my entire life. And, you know him personally. And he went to you and said, hey, I'm ready. I want to lose weight. Like, how can you help me? And he tells me this story, and it's so funny because he's like, he looked at me and he goes, why? And he's like, and I looked at him, he goes, and I looked at him. I'm like, well, because I want to lose weight. Like, what do you mean? And you looked at him again and you said, okay, but why? And he's like, God damn it, I just asked you for like a plan. Can you just give me a plan? And you're like, no, come back and tell me why. And then we'll talk. He's like, oh my God, fine, this guy, whatever. So he went home and thought about it. He goes, I went back to him and I said, I know now. He goes, I've been sick. I've felt sick my whole life. I feel disgusting when I wake up in the morning. I have trouble getting off the couch. I'm dealing with diabetes. I'm on all these different medications for blood pressure and this. And it would just be nice to just like not, to just like be. And you said, okay, well, let's talk then. And he goes back to that often. He has not even looked back at all. He's gone through phases where life gets busy or life gets hard and he's moving a little bit slower, or maybe his 6-week plan takes 10 weeks or whatever it is, but he doesn't stop. He always goes back to it. He's hit things like, not just in the weight loss and getting started with working out, ice cream. He said at the beginning, I'm not giving up my ice cream. We said, okay, fine, don't. Like eventually you'll want to. Yeah. Eventually, as he kept seeing progress, he wanted to. He replaced it with shakes. And he told me last week, he goes, I had a bunch of ice cream last night. I don't even feel bad about it because it's not my habit anymore. Yep. I know I'm having it because I want it and I'm moving on. It doesn't control him. The next thing was, I'm not ever going to work out in person. I'm going to work out in my basement by myself. I won't go to your gym ever. He comes to our gym now once a week. Mm-hmm. He wants to come more than once a week, but just schedules don't allow. He's got a pretty demanding job. So he started coming in person and he said, man, I wish I would have done this sooner. And now, like he keeps taking those steps because he still has that why in mind. Because on the flip side of that, when we talk about progress, he's like, he took a vacation and he's like, the seatbelt on the airplane fit me. He's like, this never happened before. The seatbelt on the airplane fit me. And he was so proud of himself. And he's like, this progress should be. But then had a setback at the park with the roller coaster seats. So he is in this constant battle of like, he knows logically that he's making progress, but he's still stuck in that icky feeling, which on one hand, it sucks when we're trying to look at his progress. Like he refuses to buy new clothes, even though they are literally falling off. Like his pants like will fall down if he's not wearing a belt. But he's still in his mind of like, it's not enough. It's not enough. He's still on that same weight loss mission and it's keeping him going still. Now, I was talking to another current client. She has been with us 2 years now. She's lost a ton of weight. Like a ton. And when she first started, she had never worked out before. She started tracking her calories, changing portions, changing the choices of foods that she was eating. And now she's like a very strong member here. I mean, she can do anything I ask her to do. And she's running 5Ks, all this stuff. And so when I asked her, like, what is it that holds you up? She wasn't even somebody that I was expecting to answer that question. It was a poll on my Instagram, but she said, I need to get back to logging and tracking my food. Like, I feel like I've hit a plateau. So I messaged her. I said, okay, well, you've done this before, right? So what makes you feel like you have to start logging again? She's like, well, I'm happy with where I'm at, but I would like to lose a little bit more. I said, okay. And I asked her the same question. I said, why? She said, I don't know. I know I need to get more precise. Like she couldn't find an actual reason why. So it makes sense that she can't get that habit going again. She's got no reason to. Like if you're comfortable with where you're at, like comfort's going to kill you, right? That's going to be the thing that stops you. If you don't have a reason to change the habit, you're not going to change it. A lot of times though, people think it's enough to say, well, I want to lose more. Okay. But again, why? And then you start getting into like, then I was talking to another person. She was talking about eating at night. And she goes, I hate it because every day I tell myself I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And then I do it. And then it's a mental battle. Like I let myself down. I feel sluggish. I have trouble going to sleep then. And so even she knows why she shouldn't do that. But does she know why she should stop doing that?
I think people like that, and that's everybody. I mean, I'm not any different. I think we all have our vices, but it's not about, we know why we should stop. Fuck.
Exactly.
I mean, that's never I don't think that's ever the question. I think the question is that people want to know is how. You know what I mean? People, why should I be an entrepreneur? Because of, all the thousands of good reasons. They know that they won't because it's not fucking easy. It's hard as shit. You trade 80 hours for 120 hours a week.
Easily.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's the shit ain't for the weak. But just like those bad habits or those parts of your routine, it's not even, if you think about it, I don't think that it's not like those snacks make you feel angelic, right? They don't make you feel like, oh, fuck yes, I'm a winner today because I just literally feel amazing because I just fucking deep-throated this chocolate-covered banana with fucking frosted flakes on the side. Yum. Yeah, look at me. I'm a better human being now because I just, no, that's not what happens. Okay. You feel better because you accomplished a task. That's
dopamine.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Okay. And because if it wasn't that, you would have no negative things to say afterward. Well, I ate this, felt great, but didn't sleep, but this, but, you know what I'm saying? That's like, it's just, you feel good about, this is your routine. This is what you do. It's almost like a tick. You know what I'm saying? You feel like you just have to, you have it. You got to scratch it. When half the time there ain't nothing even there. You just, you know what I'm saying? Fuck.
Yeah.
So yes, I think there's 1,000 different ways you can explain that, but how? So how do you get around it? And we can come up with all sorts of things like people who have portion control problems. I've always said to just bomb an enormous glass of water before you actually start eating. And you'll realize that you won't actually eat nearly as much. It wasn't that are you physically changing the space available in the stomach because it's now filled with a big 12-ounce glass of water? Yes, sure. But it's really more, your body will mistake hunger for thirst or thirst for hunger, right? When you think you're hungry, you're really not. You're just fucking thirsty as shit. So we can give you tricks, but at the end of the day,
yeah, I mean, practically, there's a million things you could do. Go brush your teeth, go for a walk, take out a journal and write down your thoughts instead. Literally say no out loud, turn around and walk away. Put a Post-it note on the snack that you always go for. There's a million practical things you could do, right, to get you out of that habit. But what's going to end up happening is that habit will come back unless you address it in the first place, or those tendencies. Habits turn into tendencies. Starts as a habit to have a bedtime snack, and then it turns into a tendency where when you're stressed out, you eat, like the habits, the little things add up to the big things over time, and they become more like tendencies. And it gets to a point, like, at what point are you making it worse by stressing out over it? And at what point do you just like accept it and move on?
Do these people, like, do you really even want to eat those things? Like really?
Right.
Because if you did, you wouldn't be saying you want to change, right? So do you even really want them? And it's like, well, no, I don't really want to. Like, it sucks. And it's just like, well, guess what? You don't really want to work out either.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I mean, there's
So
two things
why
here.
are you
There's
doing that?
one
Yeah.
that's like one you're complaining about doing, the other you're complaining about not doing. The only commonality here is your punk ass complaining. Bitch, stop complaining.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, and this is where he would say, oh, that's when you have to learn to like the pain and learn to, like the training and like the, no, I mean, you don't have to. It certainly makes it easier, I guess. It's a different type of dopamine rush. But, when I was younger, and my daughter's going through it now, where you feel almost sick if you don't work out. It's such like shit just don't feel right. Like I've got to get out and sweat. I got to go do something because it just feels like I'm missing something in my day if I didn't, you know what I mean? And even now, as an older guy myself, fuck, whatever, I could eat healthy as a fucking horse and I'm still pissing twice a night for fuck's sake. Whatever, so there are some things I can't change. You laugh, but when you become all menopausal, we'll be talking to you. You'll be singing a different tune, you asshole. Anyways, so you really learn to adjust your perspective on things, like we were talking about with my guy that was saying, like, I'm stuck because getting on roller coaster rides and shit like that. And it's like, when you really think about it, find me a motherfucking roller coaster at any major theme park or carnival ride that's actually fit a normal sized human fucking being. Oh, I don't think I have fit comfortably at all in a roller coaster ever in my life. It's either which is the irony is that I feel like I'm too tall for a lot of them, and I'm not very. I'm 5'10", goddamn it, what the fuck? Been this tall since 7th goddamn grade. You know what I'm saying? Shit. You know what I mean? The only rides I can actually fit on comfortably are all the ones I don't want to go on, like that tilt-a-whirl or whatever, the teacup one that spins and shit when you're basically in a curved, like, diner size thing and you're just spinning. Like, hell no, fuck out of here. Ugh.
That's the worst.
But otherwise, all the fun rides, they're this fucking big. Why? And the reason why, they want to be able to fit as many people as they can into it,
so they can make money.
Well, not just that, but the engineering behind it is they do have to maintain a certain amount of, the ride can only sustain X amount of pounds.
True. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there is that. So, like, but and hey, if you want to turn your goal and I will lose weight in inches measurable so that I can fit into this ride, cool. Why not? Yeah. That's specific as shit. Hell yeah, go for it.
And it gives you that like visual to keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. As long as you're aware of that. And again, if I were to ask him 2, 3, 4 years ago, and he says, I want to lose weight. And I'm going to say, why? So you can fit in a roller coaster? He would not, like, it wouldn't even have thought of it. Wouldn't even have thought of it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Same thing with the ice creams. Why I didn't fight him on the ice cream. It's like, fucking eat ice cream. Like when your body decides it's had enough and it wants something more, that's it. What I'm saying is it is hard. Okay. It is hard to, let's just say, swap out that part of your routine. It is hard to recognize what is even worth it to make that adjustment or that what's the word? That swap. What's the word? Okay. But that requires such a deep perspective on why you're doing it in the first place. Is there something causing it? Is it just the practice you've had your whole life? Is it, I don't want to hear about this genetic shit. My mom always had a Tootsie Roll at 8 p.m. The fuck she did? No, she did. Get the fuck out of here. You may have seen her have tendencies, or you may have seen things as a kid that was just burnt into your brain as part of normalcy, but it's not pre-coded in the genes. You know what I'm saying? That you're gonna have
because
an alarm clock go off at 9 p.m. to go eat some saturated shit. The fuck out of here.
Yeah. I mean, and also somebody in that same, your siblings are so different. You grow up in the same house, you might see one thing and it might make you have a propensity to do it.
Yeah.
The sibling who grew up in the same house with you your whole life, it might give them a propensity to not do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, part of the reason I started working out in the first place, because my entire family, on my mom's side, always struggled with their weight. And when I started to, I was like, I am not going there.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, what was your heaviest?
Probably like 170-ish.
And are you afraid that you'll slip back into that weight?
Hell yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Because I was so unhappy. Every time I looked at it, I was so unhappy.
So are you afraid of how you looked, or how afraid of the being unhappy? Like what? And if it's the unhappy, what about that? Like, is there a memory? Is there, cause that's a specific.
Yeah. I mean,
thing.
I looked in the mirror one day and I was like, oh my gosh, I remember thinking to myself, like, gosh, I hate this. Like, if I don't do something, I will end up that.
Did anybody comment something to you that triggered that, or you just randomly walked on past the bathroom?
No, it was one of those things where it's like, I knew I had never struggled with my weight. Growing up, I was always tall, skinny, didn't play sports, ate whatever I wanted, processed food all day long from the freezer. And I never struggled with that. When I went away to college, I quickly gained, 30 pounds, over the course of a year, because I kept eating shit. I was doing nothing. I was drinking. I was doing all the things that I shouldn't be doing. And I didn't move a lot. I did not have a past history of exercise. Hated sweating or my heart rate getting up or breathing heavy. I hated all of that. I wanted nothing to do with it. And so I just did it. And I thought it was funny. Like, oh yeah, I'd never be in a gym. You won't ever catch me in a gym. And as that weight caught up to me, and I started realizing that my everyday life was getting harder. My clothes weren't fitting. I refused to wear shorts like all summer long. And I hate being hot. All summer long, I'd be in long jeans because I hated how my legs looked. I hated all of it. And I would tell myself, all right, Monday, I'm going to start going to the gym.
You hated how you looked. Is this during the bad stuff you were eating and shit? So you hated how you looked, but yet you made it worse at the same time.
Because I just kind of ignored it until, it's like you hate it, but it's like, whatever, I'm just going to keep going. Like, just kind of push back. I just hit a breaking point where I was like, it was the first time I had looked in the mirror and felt disgusting. Like it was not, I didn't recognize myself. And it was like the first time that I realized that the path I was on was leading me. I could see it because I've seen my mom struggle with that. My grandmother I never saw my grandmother standing up because she was too obese to stand and was connected to oxygen tanks and everything else, fully with it, but literally couldn't get out of a chair.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I knew, to an extent, obesity is hereditary. Those types of things can be. And I've watched the struggle and what that looks like. And I was like, if I don't change something, that's going to be me. And I could not bear that thought. And I started exercising. I started eating better. And I lost the weight. And when I finally did lose the weight, I remember I texted Aaron.
By just exercising, no supplements, no Ozempics, no nothing.
Nope. Nothing, just exercising. And at first I was so scared of lifting weights. I was on the elliptical every day or the stair stepper in my spin class, because I was terrified of the weights. I was like, that sounds terrible. But I lost it all. And then some.
All cardio, or did you no weights at all then?
I started lifting weights every now and then. I'll come across my old journal where Aaron would write all my workouts for me for the week. And it's bicep curls, 5 pounds. And I was like, oh, but because, everybody starts somewhere. But I started to like see a change. And I remember when I first realized everything had changed, I was shocked by it. I was surprised, like, oh my gosh, I actually like lost the weight. Like, I feel good. Like, that's crazy. And Aaron's like, that's not crazy. Like, you exercised and you ate better and you lost the weight. Like, that's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And I was able to get smaller clothes. And I just, in my head, I refuse to let myself go back there. I mean, since then I've had cancer.
You are not afraid to buy new clothes.
No, I'm not.
Your ass be like, oh, shit, I'm down a centimeter. Here I go to Lulu. Fucking $500 for a fucking pair of pants.
No, but they last forever.
Oh, Jesus.
But since then, I've had cancer. I've had 2 kids. I've changed careers. I've changed houses. My life has changed drastically.
And
many times since then.
Give her cancer, in case you're wondering.
No.
Okay,
No.
Fuck out of here.
And it was the same thing every time. I'm like, I will not go back there. Like, I will not have to.
How did the cancer come about?
I had like swollen lymph nodes in my clavicle.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's Hodgkin's lymphoma. There's no like hereditary reason for it.
You were working out by then.
Yes, actually, I had just got my life together. I failed out of college. I had a bunch of missteps, and I had just got my life together. And then I got cancer.
How much weight had you lost before you got the diagnosis?
35 pounds, 40 pounds.
How much harder would it have been if you still had the 40 pounds and then you got the diagnosis?
I thought about that so much. I was like, thank God that I have like put myself in a position where I'm otherwise healthy. Like, I remember after my first chemo treatment, I tried to go to school, and like I had just transferred to UIC, a bigger university. And our first day of class was like 3 days after my first chemo. And I was like, I'll be fine. I got to class and I'm like, I am not fine. I took the bus back to my apartment. I lived on a 4th story walk up. Like, there was no elevator. It was all stairs. Mm-hmm. I had to crawl up the stairs, like hands and knees, had to crawl up the stairs, because by the time I got there, even taking the bus, I had nothing left. It was, I'd never been so aware of my bones in my life. Like, after chemo, my bones would ache from the inside out. I could feel every single bone in my body. It was the weirdest thing. And I remember thinking all the time, like, oh my God, what if I had never done anything to put myself in a healthier position? I don't know how I would have moved at all after some of those treatments, especially the first few. But the way that I started from a healthier base, and pregnancies too. When I had kids, like Easton was born on leg day. I literally had a barbell on my back at 5 p.m. and he was born the next day. So, and the same thing, it was like, how?
He's probably like, the fuck is wrong with this bitch, man? Get me out of here.
That's probably why he is the way that he is today. But I mean, I hate that term, bounce back, but I didn't have a whole lot of trouble moving around after my kids were born, or like I didn't have to reconfigure my entire life. It was more of like a countdown, like, shoot, when can I get back to the gym kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But just seeing all that, it's like, why would I go back after seeing all that it's done for me? That's crazy.
I think everyone needs to have that moment. That's your aha moment, kind of. Mm-hmm. But not the cancer. That was the I told you so to yourself. Like, because this could have gone a completely different way, but it didn't.
And some people have similar turning points where it's like, I know I have one who's like my mom. She sees her mom and the way that her mom functions, and it's not good. She's unhealthy. She can't move around. When she tries to play with her grandkid, she like literally can't keep up with her 5-year-old grandkid. And she's like, I can't be like that. I don't want my kid to see me like that. And that is kind of what keeps her going. I have got another guy. He watched his dad slowly decline. He watched his mom have to take care of him. And he's like, I don't want my wife to have to take care of me like that.
But at one point, like these are all serious life-changing, scenarios. Mm-hmm. You're talking to your basic 20-some-year-old, 30-year-old, who may not have gone through anything remotely close to this. And we're talking about square one type shit. Like, what if I haven't had that moment yet, but I know it's coming? How do I go about stopping this, that, and the third to do this, that, and the fourth? You know what I'm saying? And
yes.
I think yes, we can say, gotta know why, gotta have your why, gotta have your why. And that helps to, this is where going to see a trainer, having that conversation is the catalyst that is needed. You go to see a trainer, when you come to see us about it, even a FaceTime conversation, like that is where the word accountability comes in, and where it plays into your self-awareness, where it plays into your emotional intelligence, where it plays into just, I mean, shit, man, you got to figure out yourself first. I've had moms that have said, oh, well, I can't afford this because I got to pay for Jimmy's fucking soccer or whatever, something stupid, right? And we always come, and we're told and trained and through practice, we're always said, you know, we tell the client, then you're not going to be going to any of Jimmy's games if you're not around. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or you want to be the best version of yourself for them, kind of thing. Like, it's always that normative angle that trainers are taught to take in combating objections, right? But as human beings, I think you'll know the genuine, if somebody's genuine or not. Okay. Which is why I guess with him, with my guy, it was like, I didn't remember this part of the conversation. I didn't even know it was that part of his story. Yeah. Honestly, I remember the conversation as you were going through what he was saying, but you know, I remember standing there at the batting at practice at the batting cages, and he was telling me that. And now I remember sitting there at the table. Now that I think about it, we were sitting down. And he was asking, because I had a question about some real estate stuff, and you know, and it was. I remember just asking him, like, why? Like, I'm not doing this. Like, he's too close to me to just, okay, great, let's sign. Like, I don't think I've ever signed somebody up for the sake of signing them up, right? I don't think I've ever done that. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. Not that I can't be wrong, but this is just something it's too personal. It's personal training. You know what I mean? So like having a conversation with somebody is, a lot of the times people will have that moment. They look in the mirror like you had, right? And you're by yourself, and it's, you know, that between you and you kind of thing. But when you find the right connection and a trainer that can understand, they can be that reflection that actually has a conversation with you that you may not want to hear, in a way that makes you want to have it anyway. And that's a big deal.
Yeah. I think you asked, I said, I just realized one day that I needed to change something. And your next question was, okay, well, can you pinpoint the specific moment? Like, can you go back to that exact moment, that feeling, somebody said something happened, something didn't fit? Like, what was it, that one thing that got you? And at the beginning of the year, we did like a goal setting workshop. Not that you need the beginning of the year. That's what we did. And it goes through, it's this guide. So if you want it, you can tell us that you want the goal setting guide. We'll send it to you. But it went through, what's your goal? Why is that your goal? And then it got into all of that specific stuff. Because what's your goal? I want to lose weight. Why? Because I want to feel better. Okay. So let's take a backtrack then. What was the first specific second that you realized that was your goal? And what happened to make you feel like that? What did you feel like in that moment? What did you see? Was it like, did you have a fear come up in that moment? Those pain points are the things that you like don't want to think about. Like, nobody wants to sit there and be like, oh, I felt fat and disgusting. Like, oh yeah, remember when my pants didn't fit and I had to wear this, whatever. Nobody wants to sit in that. But I tell people all the time, but that's what's going to make you keep doing the things that you need to do to be where you want to go. Like, those pain points that you don't want to think about are also the things that are going to make you do what you do want to happen.
Those are the opportunities you can choose to think another way. Those are the opportunities. All it takes is one time to change that narrative you have with yourself. It takes just once to, something bad happens, and instead of being like, God damn it, fuck, something bad happens, you're just like, all right, you some bitch, I knew that was him, but you know what? You ain't gonna get me. And then all of a sudden, you go from defense to offense. You know what I'm saying? And you know, from Gary Vee, he'll talk about, I go on offense all the time. Like, fuck all that defense shit. I go offense, you know? And I gotta tell you, all that shit, playing defense wins championships. Yeah, okay, cool. Playing offense is how you get there in the first fucking place. Okay? You gotta be relentless. You gotta be, you know, as long as you're moving forward, nothing else matters. Like, that's where the perspective comes in. That's, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back still means you're 1 step ahead of where you were yesterday. And if you can, you know, compound that over the course of a solid fitness journey, then you'll get to the end. And as soon as you realize, man, I don't want to take 2 steps back anymore, you stop saying, man, I don't want to just not start, because you realize you have started. Now you're looking at, oh, I don't want to take 1 step back anymore. Stop taking the 2 steps back. Now all of a sudden you go from crawling to walking to running to sprinting. right?
Yeah.
And that's all that matters. Shit, I would tell my clients in the beginning, like, I don't give a shit if you like the whole like moving forward on the road, right? Bouncing, you can bounce on every guardrail on this highway going down, going straight. I don't give a shit if you spin out and you're going backwards on that highway forward. I don't give a shit. As long as you're going in that direction, we're good. We'll get you there. The only bad part is if you put that shit in park and go back the way you came. No retreat, no surrender.
Yeah. I think there's a big difference too in saying something like that my divorce is really getting me down, so I'm having trouble getting to the gym. That's very different than saying I'm going to the gym no matter what. I don't care. Like, those are two very different things to take a perspective of this is what's stopping me and it's holding me back and I can't fight it, and saying like, I'm going to fight through anything no matter what it is.
Do you have somebody going through that now?
Yeah, she's really, she was so consistent for a while, got to a really good place mentally, physically. And just the process of divorce is weighing on her, and she's having a really hard time getting here. She's having a really hard time like battling through, wanting to sit at home in bed all day. And
I've been divorced. Tell her to give me a shot. I'll walk her through it. But what is her main fight? Just
literally getting here.
Yeah. What's she depressed about? Just
the process in general. I think it's been a really tough, custody battle. And, she's got her kids that she's got to worry about. So when she's faced with like, all right, well, am I going to go work out or not? She finds every reason to not.
Yeah.
And
masking it by saying like, my attention needs to be over here instead of over here.
Right. Yeah. But really, I mean, when she does come, she goes, oh gosh, that helps so much. Like, I need to be here more, because once you do it, it's like your brain is like afraid of, it's the anticipation of the effort of pulling yourself out. And actually physically getting there and doing it. And then once you do it, it's like, my God, why didn't I do that last week? Like my last, I had a shit day yesterday. I finally worked out this morning and I was like, why didn't I just do that yesterday? Like my whole day would have been different if I would have just take 10 minutes, stop and go do something, anything. Because once you start, like everything gets flowing and your brain is like, oh, okay, there's something to be said for the endorphins and the actual like physical changes that happen within your brain.
And you have to experience that. It's like, you can't just tell somebody about it. And then,
but then even when you do experience it, then you go home, your brain gets bogged down again and you don't remember, you remember the feeling, but it's a lot easier to be like, forget it.
Yep.
And so she said something, and she started talking about the spirit animals that we did and stuff like that. She started talking about how she needs to be less of a dolphin and more of a Wolverine. And I don't necessarily think that you need to, you are who you are to an extent. There are things that you can do to make yourself stronger, but you don't need to change your whole personality. You just have to understand how your brain works and how you can get yourself to do the things that you have to do.
Each of those, the
they have their own strengths.
They all have their own ways of surviving.
Exactly.
There's more than one way to get it done. I mean, if you're a dolphin, that means you're a herd animal, you're a pack animal. You like minds. So surround yourself with people who are genuinely a part of the solution of positivity and have gone through and beaten things that have, if it wasn't a divorce, then it was a death of a loved one, or it was the loss of a job, or it was something that had the potential to alter the course of your life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And as a dolphin,
they'll have some perspective about that.
Absolutely. Talking it through with someone and just kind of getting it out there sometimes gets you to realize those moments that the pain set in, or what really it is deep down. Like for me, like I said, my deep down thing was, I don't want to turn out like the people in my family that I've seen the way that they turned out. Like, I don't want that to be me in the future. If I were to gain 20 pounds and my clothes didn't fit anymore, I would be harder to get going, because I think I'd be depressed about where I'm at. And it would make me slower to get up and start going again. But it's not because I'm depressed about the weight gain. It's because I lost sight of what my pain point was in the first place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think it's a lot more common. It's a less individualized pain point than anything with stuff like that, because with the divorce and things, because it applies to a lot of different scenarios. And I think it's a basic human instinct to not want to be attacked. You don't want to be wrong. You don't want to be attacked. You don't want to be singled out. You don't want to be misunderstood. We all want to be accepted. You know what I'm saying? If you'd ask somebody that says, I don't care what motherfuckers think, you're a goddamn liar, because everybody cares what everybody thinks. Okay. That's not good or bad. It doesn't really make a difference. It's just the way we are. And that's the society that we've built. So the hardest part about the divorce thing would be trying to wrap your brain around what life is going to look like for you, and then what you think other people are going to look at you as. Always asking, oh, how are you doing? Or I don't know the situation. For all I know, she's at fault. I don't know. I'm just saying, how are you be perceived? Because how you're perceived has an effect on how you perceive yourself. You think you've got a standard to live up to. People expect a certain thing out of you. Your circles and your way of life and your routines are all kind of built around you. Fit yourself into something because of however it was you presented yourself. And a divorce is one of those things that changes the very foundation of how you came into every situation. You know what I'm saying? If you're a married couple and you're really tight with all your neighbors, and all of a sudden you split, now you're going to be looking at a custody battle of whose friends are whose friends. It's just it's ridiculous, but that's a fact. That type of shit weighs on you, because that is a direct impact towards your security system, your support system. You start going down the path. If there's kids, you start going down the path of what the kids' parents are going to say, and everyone wants to know what happened, but no one's going to ask you. Yeah. And that's just going to be really weird. And then there's going to be the stories about what everyone think happened. And the next thing you know, you find yourself, it's been 5 days and you're worrying about shit that hasn't happened yet and may not ever happen. Instead of looking at things and saying, man, is it possible that the person I'm going to become after this is better than the person I am now? Is it possible? I'm not saying, is it a fact? Is it even possible? Because if it is possible, I think it's worth exploring.
And that's what I'm saying. There's a big difference between saying like, wow, this process is so hard and I feel stuck, and asking yourself the question, okay, but what's next? And like, where am I going? Mm-hmm. And what do I need to do to go where's next? Like,
or
I know
what
what's
would happen
not
if
next.
I became unstuck? If I really put effort into becoming unstuck, what's on the other side? Like, is it even worth it?
And once you can get the vision of that,
ask the right questions.
That goes more for divorce, more than just divorce too. Where you shouldn't look for those kind of answers.
Facebook.
Yeah. / Google.
Good God.
That's another one for another day.
If you Google anything, you'll find out you have cancer. Fucking period. No matter what. Why does my ass itch? You have cancer. Okay. How come people don't stop at stoplights? Because they have cancer. Why is Oklahoma so fucking hot? Because Oklahoma has cancer. What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Why doesn't the grass grow? Because the dirt has cancer.
All of it.
Fuck.
Everything.
Why is the healthcare system here so bad? Because the healthcare system has cancer.
It is cancer.
Facebook groups are with a grain of salt. I mean, if you really want to hear bad attitudes, join a Facebook group.
Well, yeah. I mean, so much about those ours, in the fitness world.
What I mean by ours is it's personal. No, it's not like it's got 10 billion members that have to make you answer questions of
keyboard warriors.
Like, nah, just fucking, it's like-minded, man. You know what I'm saying? But you can't even join a group for like research purposes to narrow down shit so that you don't have to look on Google or YouTube or ChatGPT or whatever. But ChatGPT's money. You ask too many questions, they'll charge you for a bigger subscription. But ChatGPT's money though. But it's not going to do you a whole hell of a lot if you're looking for personal feedback.
Hell no. I think that would be a whole different one.
Yeah.
All that Facebook stuff. All right. So anyways, I guess ask yourself the right questions. For real though, that goal setting guide is really good. And everybody that we walked through it, I even have a recording walking people through it if you want it. Everybody that went through that workshop came out of it learning things about themselves that they didn't know before that helped them change those exact habits that we're talking about. So anyways,
we'll post it on Facebook.
We'll post it on Facebook.